right, folks, welcome. I am Marlon Weens, the publisher of The Journeyman, a newsletter that explores the intersection of politics, the economy, and race, specifically anti-racism, anti-black racism. And I am here with a very good friend of mine, Dr. Allison Wiltz, and we're going to chop it up for a minute. Welcome, Allison. It's been
Thank
a
you,
while.
thank you. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a busy couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been writing. I talked to a reporter yesterday about a policy in taking place at Target where they're trying to require employees to smile when they get within 10 feet of a customer.
What? Wait, is that
Shocking,
serious?
right?
I have not heard this.
So yeah, so
Wait,
basically
mandatory smiling.
yeah. And so I was like saying like, hey, all the reasons why I felt like that was problematic, like because obviously because of mental health care reasons, but also for racial and identity reasons in terms of forcing black people to smile or forcing women to smile. It like just seems like
I know it's so right. That was the first thing I thought of is the whole thing of, guys telling women they need to smile more.
or get fired.
Wow.
That's pretty scary.
So Target is just kind of going from one bad thing to another, right?
Bingo. They certainly don't seem to have learned their lesson.
Wow. So that is that is really strange. I'm just trying to process.
I know it just
These
sounds
guys
like
are losing customers already over DEI, and now their solution is we just gonna make people just smile whether they want to or not.
right. It's very oppressive. Um, when I was working as a manager at a restaurant down here in New Orleans, I actually had run into that problem with a few customers like that wanted the employees to smile at them. And I always picked the employee side because I was like, okay, I was a bartender a long time, so no, we're not doing this. Like, I always ask, like, were they rude to you? Did they get you everything you need? And as long as they got you what you need and were respectful, then like, no, I'm not gonna make them smile. Like smiling shouldn't be contingent on someone's employment, especially when at least 1 in 5 Americans has suffered from some type of mental illness and between 18 and 19% have experienced a depressive episode. So just imagine if you're really depressed and you're not making much money and you're working at Target and they're like, "Hey, you better smile today or else it's over for you." Like
I'm,
that's not cool.
I'm sorry. This is the silliest thing I ever heard. So and what really is so tone deaf because there's not a lot to smile about right now. I mean, unless you're a billionaire, yeah, you got something to smile about, or a trillionaire, right?
Right, but
So
everyday people.
yeah, I mean, that's wild. Wow, that was not what I was expecting we would start with. I mean, wow. So, Allison, let's back up for a minute because for folks who don't know or unfamiliar with you, just give us just a little bit about your background, what you write about and that sort of thing, just for the people who don't know.
Okay, well, I'm Dr. Allison Wilds, and I have a PhD in psychology. I write about race, women. I try to make the connection between history, and the present. I write a lot about culture. I've written over 1,000 essays so far, and I'm working on my first book. But
Oh,
yeah, I've just enjoyed working with other writers, and I work for myself. So that's the cool part about it is, I get to shape what my work days look like. I work really hard on my writing, which if you read my essays, you can kind of tell I put a lot of effort into that. But
yeah, let me
so
just say you're prolific. I mean, I try to write a little bit, but I mean, we should really tell folks because I noticed Arturo, I think, just popped in. And so we got some history, me, you, Arturo, and a few other people that are on Substack. I'll let you tell it because you're the founder of Woke. So,
oh yeah,
you can tell the story.
so yeah, and at the end of 2019, at the beginning of 2020, I helped co-found an organization, Writers and Editors of Color. And what we wanted to do was put a spotlight on writers who do come from these marginalized backgrounds because in terms of being seen online, it's like a numbers game. So essentially, if you're 13% of the population, which Black people are, then in order for things that we care about to kind of get to the top of what everyone's talking about, it has to get white people to co-sign. So instead of just like accepting that limitation, we work with one another and share one another's writing and kind of boost one another. And it was really effective. Like a lot of us that worked together, we were able to establish writing careers online or to like expand what we do. A couple of the writers won competitions on Medium. One of our writers, Hal Harris, for example, won $20,000. Like that was like the first year like woke got together. So like we encourage one another. Like that's the whole goal of woke. I still meet a little bit on Twitter, but most woke people are like that is too toxic of an environment. So we're just kind of like meeting when and where we can. And Substack is like our baby. Like it's the platform where I feel
I
like
have
a
been
lot of
telling
people
y'all,
feel comfortable.
I just got tired of Twitter way before a lot of folks did. And when Substack notes, well, I was on Substack writing because for me, Medium just got too, you write so much, you were just killing it. But for guys like me, I never could figure out my money on Medium. So
Right.
anyway, so somebody folks are like wanting Arturo to jump in. You want to bring him in and let him
Yeah.
join? Let's
Yeah,
see if
please do.
let's see if I can do this right.
I like it.
All right, I'm gonna invite Arturo in, and we'll have a woke family reunion.
Yes, that's good. Yeah, Twitter is,
So,
like, still super racist,
uh,
not that people aren't racist a little bit of everywhere, but Twitter is, like, they lay it on thick, but right now, because of, like, the Epstein scandal, like, the racists are running and hiding right now, like, they are actually like, there's, like, a moment when, like say if you go on Twitter right now, like, the same people are just, like, "In this and monkey that," like, they're gone right now, and my theory of the case is that they're recalibrating, like, now they've been hit with the news that their hero is most likely a pedo, and so now they're ducking and hiding and trying to recalibrate their talking points because 'cause they're,
there
like,
he
they're too
is.
quiet right now.
You had to go find your cap, man. Is that it?
No, I was dude, I'm dealing with my 15-year-old dog. She's got some
Oh
bleeding going
no.
on.
Oh man. I'm
Falling
sorry to
apart.
hear that.
Yeah, she's falling apart.
Well, welcome to the
But yeah.
conversation. So I was telling somebody I guess it was my daughter, because they heard me and you talking the other day, and folks were like, "Y'all ought to do a show," and
Yeah.
and I guess my wife actually was trying to. She's like, "Now, how do you know Arturo?" And I was like, "Remember that writers group that I used to be on the phone instead of going to church on Sunday?" That was my excuse. And so, yeah, the three of us used to really, I mean, like religiously every Sunday, we'd have like an hour long little get together. And sometimes there'd be a lot of folks in there. So anyway, that's how the three of us know each other, which is actually for us not to have actually, I haven't met anybody in woke actually in person.
I'm trying to think, but
We,
yeah,
we got to
same
figure
for
out, we
me.
got to figure out how
Same
to,
for
how to
me.
rectify that.
Yeah,
I
we
know,
gotta
and
set.
I wanna bring Quintessa into I know she's been on Substack too, but she's, like, another one of my people.
Is she
Yeah.
is she in here now? I know she's on Substack, but I haven't seen her a lot lately.
Right, me neither, but it's like
But yeah,
I miss that. Now
one of the
with people
things that
on
I
Twitter,
try to
I just
do
literally read to them and I'm not it's not like it doesn't feel as much as of a community. It just feels like I'm doing it because a few people really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And but it's not the same in sense of it feels like it's a community. And yeah, I hope one day all of us do get together and have some type of like a conference. And
hey,
like
Yeah.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it, y'all. I'm just
awesome.
dropping the breadcrumbs. One of these days
I
I'll
feel
get to
like
the
y'all should come
place.
to New Orleans because we have good food and
Oh, you don't have to sell us. You
No,
you
yeah,
don't
yeah.
no, it's okay.
It's
You don't have
okay.
to
we got
you don't have to sell us. We will come. We will definitely come to New Orleans. I have been to New Orleans. It's been years ago, but I mean, it's one of those things. The quarter. You just don't forget it, man. It's so awesome. So nothing against
I love
Texas, man, but I'm just saying.
right. No, I love New Orleans. you know, you often hear people say something about the siren song or whatever, you know, calling people back to New
Yep.
Orleans. I'm like, dude, I feel that. I feel that
Yeah,
because
Arturo helped
it's
rebuild
fun.
the city. He helped rebuild the city after Katrina. So
Really?
he has a feeling for our city.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that. I didn't know
yeah. I
that.
was there. I was there for close to 2 years, right around 2 years
Oh, wow.
after Katrina, doing disaster recovery work as a FEMA contractor. So
Wow. I
I
did
had
not know that. So,
I had like
being from Little Rock, I mean, I'd jump up and go down to New Orleans at the drop of a hat, but I'm a little far away from it now. But anyway, just, hey, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
no, I was gonna say we had like 46 trucks out there for
Ooh,
like 2 years. So
I
yeah,
can believe it.
fun.
It was wild.
In
Yeah.
my neighborhood, do you know that they still have some roofs that have the blue roofs on there? There are
What?
still
Really?
houses in New Orleans that have not been fixed. It's
Are
insane.
you kidding me?
Yeah. You could get them for cheap too if you have money, which that's how it's been getting gentrified so much down here is, I mean, if you have like 50, $60,000, if you could afford to buy a gutted house, you know what I mean, and redo it,
And
there
redo it.
are lots of things to do.
Wow. I did not know that. How long's it been? That was what?
Now 20 years. Exactly.
Oh,
I was a high school senior when Katrina hit. Like I
now
literally
see, you're just trying to make me feel old on purpose. Now. I was, I remember I was working in New York and, yeah, so that you're right. That was what, like 2005, 2006, something like that.
Yep,
Yeah.
2005.
Wow, that's crazy. Time. So, okay, folks, where do we start? Let's see. We got choices. We got shutdown or Epstein, or we could do a wild card. So, ladies first.
Like the juicy one seems to be the Epstein, but
Yeah.
the shutdown is an important topic too. So however y'all want to do it.
You go. It's on you. You make
Well,
the.
I feel like I'll address both. I feel like the shutdown. I feel like even though they're working out, even though they kind of made a deal with the devil, and now the Republicans are going to open it back up, and they're taking away the subsidies, and now healthcare is going to be healthcare was already a struggle for a lot of people to afford, even with the subsidies, but now millions of people are going to get thrown off of healthcare. So I feel like it was definitely a horrible way it played out, and also the Democrats, like the ones that did cave, they dropped the ball because essentially, because you held out, like if you immediately gave in, it was just going to be what it was going to be. But holding out really brought attention on the fact that there was a fight for healthcare. And so when that was acquiesced, that was horrible. And it's horrible going into a midterms, when we're supposed to be rallying people to participate, rallying people to care. It would have been nice if they would have held the line and got them something. Eventually they would have broke. The airports were starting to cut flights. The Republicans are about they have a lot of people that they're interested with that have money. So they were eventually going to cave, and the Democrats that gave in kind of undermined the whole idea of there being a fight. Not only that, there's going to be long-term economic damage from the shutdown, and it's caused a lot of confusion, and it caused a lot of stress and heartache amongst like impoverished people throughout the country in terms of the food stamps, in terms of all the different resources that come with that. And then I would say also the Epstein files, I feel so mixed about it because I kind of feel like it's a distraction in the respect that anybody who needed to see that to know what Trump was at this point, like we have to stop appeasing the bad faith people because years ago, before he was even president, there were court documents of underage girls that were actually alleging that he touched them. That was a long time ago. I believe those
Oh,
girls did.
before the first election, there was a woman who had filed a lawsuit
Oh,
and got
Gerald
so many
did have
death
lawsuits, so
threats
now
she
he
pulled
can't
out.
say he raped somebody. You
Yeah,
know?
so yeah, you're right about that. If you didn't, if all the indictments and the felonies and the judgments didn't get you,
The scams,
come on.
the fake
Yeah,
college stuff.
really stealing from a charity, come on.
The
I mean,
bankruptcy,
I
the
get now.
housing
Look,
discrimination, the letter from the New York Times calling for the lynching of innocent Black and Latino people.
yeah, it's
The list goes on and on and on to where it really concerns me, because if this is only your breaking point, then you're showing that you have empathy for children, but not Black people, but not immigrants who are children. Not it's like a very strange and selective outrage. I feel like if you were not on team impeach Trump before this moment, something is wrong with you, and I don't believe that you're truly outraged now. Because if you weren't outraged by the racism, if you weren't outraged by the sexism, you weren't outraged by the allegations of sexual abuse by children in the past and his affiliation with FC, I don't see how this changes anything. I think that, it's like when I was a kid, Bill Clinton was getting dragged through the coals for getting consensual head. And even if we want to say, wow, that's messed up what you did to your wife, you disrespected and hurt her, that's a personal matter. And yet we saw that dragged through the coals as if he raped someone. I mean,
oh yeah.
that's how bad they treated him. And here we have someone that actually has been credibly accused of rape. And then also pedophilia, and then it's like now it's all the grace in the world for him. Well, where was that grace for Bill Clinton? I mean,
Look, I remember that well. I was still living in Little Rock at the time, and it was like they were acting like, and Monica Lewinsky was in her early 20s. I mean, it was skeevy,
it was consensual. It was like
but it wasn't like
under the
she.
desk.
Yeah, well, look, hey, and look, people were acting like she wasn't old enough to make the decision, like he had taken advantage of her as though she was a child.
It's not like he promised her, like, hey, you're going to be my wife. I'm about to kick her out. She was never misled.
No, 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 no. It was just like they both knew what was up.
I think a lot
That's
of the
adult.
argument was the power dynamic, right?
Oh, no
That's
question.
true.
No
That's the
question.
only thing they could got to
But
get
it was
him on.
still right. It was still consensual, and I think
Right.
Allison, I think you touched on something, about how people are all over the Epstein thing, and you said, most of these people don't really care about Black people or immigrants, and I think to me that highlights how a lot of people hate Trump, but not necessarily his policies.
Right.
So you
And
get
that's scary.
you get a lot of these, especially with never Trumper Republicans, right?
Right.
They loathe Trump. They talk trash about Trump all day long, but these are the same people who were Republicans in the dog whistle party. They were Republicans when they were taking our voting rights. Like all the issues we're having here
They
in
seem to
Texas is
support the cuts
because
to
of a lot of
healthcare.
these all these never Trump Republicans that took away our voting rights, who chipped away at the ACA, and like I say this all the time, like I don't benefit from the ACA because we're in Texas, we never expanded Medicaid, right? If
Right.
I wanted to try to get insurance, it's like $2,500 a month. I can't afford
Wow.
that, right? I don't get food stamps, like I don't get none of that.
Right.
But this whole conversation highlights how this country is always fighting between food and healthcare. Do I get groceries? Do I get prescriptions? And I think I mentioned this in our last show, Marlon, that it doesn't really, it happens to me on occasion. It doesn't happen to me every month because all my meds are like $60, right? My doctor was smart enough to give me the cheap stuff because he knows I'm a cash paying, I'm a cash paying customer. So I get all the generics of everything. And, but it still comes down to like there was a couple times I had to fundraise to get meds on Twitter. And,
Wow.
like, when I posted about it, I got, like, I don't know how many million views on that post, and, like, I raised the funds in, like, 15 minutes thanks to a bunch of strangers, like, nobody I knew chipped in, it was all strangers, and, everybody was trying to give me this advice on how to, like, get through healthcare.gov and all that stuff, and no matter what I did, it was still 20 something, 2,300 $2,300 a month for my insurance, and it's just, like, ridiculous, Like,
One
I'm
of
looking
my
to
one of
make
my
that.
meds went up. Like I had a
Yeah.
medicine that I was taking to control my asthma that was $15 a month, and I literally cried earlier this month because when I called to get it, they were saying the price went up and it was 300 something dollars. And
Whoa.
mind you, it would have been, I don't have insurance, but when I checked what the price with insurance would be, it would be that exact same price. So first of all, even if I was going broke to afford insurance, that wouldn't have given me my medicine. So what I had to do is I had to go look through medicines I had been previously prescribed, like similar medicines, like
Mhm.
a generic. They didn't have a generic of that one exactly, but I was like, I'm just gonna go back on something she prescribed me earlier, you know what I mean, and get that for like
Mhm.
60, $70. But literally from $15 to over $300, and I'm sitting there like, this is crazy. Like I was in shock. I didn't even think to go online or whatever and ask. I just kind of felt like I don't know what I'm gonna do. I felt like I was like, if I don't get this medicine, I know I'm gonna go to the hospital this month. But
Yeah, see, I'm
luckily,
a
I was able to
fellow
get it
asthma
sooner.
sufferer, and you can't mess with my
Right.
my disc,
Yeah.
and my Ventolin. You can't mess with
Bingo,
that stuff.
bingo. We need that.
Yeah, it's not optional. It is not.
Yeah, my
You
wife
know,
has asthma, so I know what y'all are going through. Yeah, that's
Like,
so
expensive.
why? That's to me life-saving medicine. I feel like life-saving medicine you should be allocated that by the government. Like, if I needed to live, like, let's not play games. Like, whether it's asthma stuff, whether it's insulin, whatever you need to live, I feel like should definitely be included. Because if I go to an emergency room, because that's what I've had to do when I haven't had insurance. If I have to go to an emergency room because I'm having an asthma attack and I don't have my medicine, well, guess what they're gonna give me? So we could either do this the easy way or we could do
or
this
the
the hard
hard way.
way. I'm getting that medicine.
Right.
I'm getting it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something else. Now, see, I'm in North Carolina, so um, you can get the ACA here, but it's weird the way it is structured. My children who well, one's about to be 21 in a couple of days, or 20 rather, and the other one is 22. So they still are on, they qualify to be on our health care, but they can't be on the ACA. They're in the CHIP program, which is basically Medicaid. It's
Yeah.
Medicaid. So everything's free. And sometimes it's so inefficient, they give you the most expensive meds,
Right.
you know, instead of the generic. So they could, I mean, so anyway, it's just
Yeah,
one of
you're
those
right. It's
things
all
though.
part of their scam to get more because for a while
Hmm.
they had me on Advair, and I'm sure y'all know the
Oh yeah,
Advair.
I know Advair.
Yeah.
Advair used to be super expensive, but now it depends on you can sometimes get it for cheaper. Well, at one point they had me on the Advair for cheaper than it was cheaper at that point than the other one. But then all of a sudden it went back to the normal price of $300-$400. Like, and so yeah, so now I just feel like I just want to stay on the generic. Like I just want to stay on the generic, please. No more.
See, I mean, I'm old. I'm on Medicaid, so or Medicare. So I'm on Medicare,
I tried to
and
apply and I always make just a little too much. It's
Yeah.
been like that through my 20s and 30s. I've always made just a little too much to where it's like I don't qualify for food stamps. I don't qualify for any type of assistance at all. And so that's why I generic it out. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
oh,
I
if
hear you.
anybody wants cheap
Protect.
medicine, look up the Mark Cuban. Mark
Yeah,
Cuban
Mark
has
Cuban.
like
Yeah.
a online pharmacy, and I've had success with them too when I couldn't get it anywhere else for cheap. That's helped too. You know.
Just to
Yeah.
go back, I saw something in the comments. Someone asked a question. I'm just looking for it, but I think they were asking, this is really referring back to the Epstein situation. And the question was, why is he worried if he's got immunity? Well, the answer to that is this immense immunity that the Supreme Court gave Trump, that's only for shit that he did when he was president, like in his official capacity.
That's
And
right. That's
this ain't
true.
that. This
You
ain't
can't
that
say
at all.
that you can't say raping little girls is part of your
No,
and you
that's
weren't even in
even
office at the
even this
time, so you
Supreme
can't say
Court.
it had anything to do with anything.
That's yeah, that's a stretch even for this court. Just back on that same subject. eh, I have been just reading a lot of, a lot of folks, I'm online, like both of y'all are, and people trying to make this where it was like some, three-dimensional chess kind of moves that the Democrats did, and it's really not that bad.
It's a conspiracy. I'm like, oh my
Listen,
God.
here's something that I haven't heard it. I take it back. There's one guy that I have followed all like back in the Twitter days. Um, I think I'm saying his name right. I think it's Steve Vladeck, and he is like, an expert on the Supreme Court. And I noticed this and actually kind of wrote something about it a couple of days ago. It was before the Democrats caved. And it's puzzling me, and I'll just walk you through it. So, like last Friday, I think it was, the lower court ruled, like it was whatever the, circuit court ruled against Trump on SNAP benefits.
Right.
And they said he had to pay, couldn't do the, portion or partial payments. He appealed it to the First Circuit, but he wanted it like an immediate, decision. And they were like, no, we're not going to give you just an immediate stay of that ruling. We're going to consider it. So then what he does all the time is he jumped over them and appealed to the Supreme Court for, like what I think they call it emergency relief. The way it's set up is there's a particular, individual justice, depends on what, there's, I think, 12 different regions. And so the First Circuit, in the First Circuit, the justice that oversees emergency cases is Ketanji Brown Jackson. In Texas, I think it might be Alito or Clarence Thomas, one of them. So Ketanji Brown Jackson, she did a Jedi mind trick, in my opinion. What she did was she said, okay, I'm going to give you, I'm going to give an administrative stay. I'm not going to rule on the merits. And I'm just going to give the judge a chance to say whatever he's going to say. And it needs to be quick. And once that happens, I'm giving y'all 48 hours to make your appeal. And then I'm going to decide whether I'll extend the stay, and then the whole Supreme Court comes in. Okay, so Sunday, right before midnight, the judge in the First Circuit ruled against Trump and upheld, which meant you got to give, you got to give everybody the SNAP benefits. But the Democrats caved on that same day. Now think about what's going on Sunday. Trump is getting booed out of the stadium at this football game. All the energy is with the Democrats, right?
Right. They threw it away.
And I'm like, okay, so.
But see, this is why
But wait, this is the part that's crazy. So Ketanji Brown Jackson had given them this 48-hour period, right? So assuming the Democrats didn't do anything, but when they did, the entire Supreme Court came in and overrode Ketanji Brown Jackson and expanded, instead of 48 hours, they added another 48, which is, that's not really something that's done.
They needed their time.
Well, no, what they said was, well, now it looks like this is going to be a moot point because they're getting ready to open the government anyway, and they can figure it out once the government's open. But what's weird about it is Ketanji Brown Jackson said in that ruling where they extended everything, she said, I was going to rule against this guy and shut this shit down.
Right.
She said, at that 48 hours, once it was up, I wasn't going to give him any more time. Right. And I was going to rule with the first, up, and he was going to have. So instead, all Democrats had to do was wait like another day, and they would have got SNAP benefits anyway. And I'm just like, why they didn't wait? I don't understand what the urgency was.
The Democratic Party is not one. I look at it like the Democratic Party is split in between progressives,
oh, no question,
moderates, and to me, far right Democrats. And so to me, the far right Democrats, they're obstructionists. So just like they have, MAGA name only. Well, they're some people are Democrats in name only, and they run as a Democrat because that works better in whatever market they're running in. But ultimately, they're not Democrats, and that is shown through the votes. This is the same ideology of why we couldn't get the John Lewis Voting Rights Act passed, why we couldn't pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, because we had Democrats in office who did not agree with the majority of Democrats. So it's like, as much as people want a big tent, in order to politically get anything done, you actually need to cut off people who stray too far from what the political agenda is. Right.
I just want to say, somebody in the comments said that they didn't think.
Clear on this,
Yeah, somebody in the comments said they didn't think there's enough money for SNAP benefits this month. And let me just say this:
Because Trump stole it. If there's not enough money,
there's eight. First of all, there's $8 billion.
That gold ballroom he's building. I don't know.
Listen, there's $8 billion in the emergency fund. Oh wait, maybe it's $5 billion, and
I
it
wonder
costs
how much is
eight.
gonna be left when he's gone.
Well, that's a different one. No, I mean, but
are we gonna have any
there's
money
one.
left when this man is done?
I can't
Like, I feel
I
like he gonna
can't
sell.
say
He
with
gonna
any
sell the country and
confidence.
everything. Like I don't feel like I put nothing past him.
Well, look at it this way. I'll give you an example. Okay, so tariffs. When they started with tariffs, Trump has been saying we're making all this money from tariffs.
The two
Now,
dollars.
of course, we're the ones paying ultimately we're the ones paying. But he's been, yeah, I watch a lot of financial television, and Scott Bessent, they've been talking about all this money that they bringing in from these tariffs, and how that when they were trying to get the big bullshit bill through,
Yeah.
they were talking about how the money from the tariffs was going to offset this big hole in the deficit,
Extra rich.
right?
Let's do it that way. Let's try it that way. Let's do it that
So,
way.
but wait though, but now they're talking about they're going to use money from the tariffs to bail out farmers that are only needing to be bailed out
What's going
because
on
of the
with the regular
tariffs.
money? Why do they have to get more money to pay for things that should already be in the budget?
Listen, on the budget. What you
Where's
talking
the money
about?
for the budget?
Budget? You guys ain't got no budget. They're literally buying each other jets and stuff. Come on.
And Trump gets to bomb people. Like how he's bombing the so-called drug dealers. Because, I mean, it's allegedly. None of this has been dealt with in court. But he's literally bombing other nations.
Guys, that's just straight up murder.
Waging war against other groups of people.
No, but
And
I mean,
Congress
seriously.
is not loud enough about that. Like, I don't trust them. Ever since the Charlie Kirk thing, the Democrats are really in hot water. Y'all didn't have to sign that shit. I don't know what was wrong with y'all, but that was not worth your integrity. But I guess
Oh, you're talking about the thing, like honoring Charlie Kirk or something?
They made a national holiday honoring him, and there's going to be a statue of him.
Wait, whoa. What now?
Yeah, there's a holiday. October 10th is now Charlie Kirk Day. Trump already signed
Y'all.
it. Congress agreed on it. So every year
this has been through the Senate and everything?
Oh, yeah, it's signed. Democrats approved of it. And so it wasn't unanimous in the House, but it was unanimous in the Senate. So that means every Democratic senator that is currently in office,
you know something,
even Bernie Sanders, the independent, all of them supported this, strangely enough. So I've been looking at them kind of sideways like,
yeah.
Okay.
You know, that's one of those things that happen. I think mentally, my mind just was like, you just don't even need to know this because that.
Well, you know, the way
the
way the Republicans did that bill was, you know, they made it sound like it was a resolution to denounce political violence. But in that resolution was to designate a day for Charlie Kirk. And that's what gave.
So do they have to come back and officially designate the day?
Oh, it's already done. Trump signed it into law.
It's already done.
It is House Resolution 719. And even though they claimed it was about violence, listen to the name of the resolution: honoring the life and legacy of Charles Charlie James Kirk. And literally, and it's so focused on him. Look what it says. Whereas Charlie James Kirk, born October 14, 1993, was a courageous American patriot whose life was tragically and unjustly cut short in an act of political violence on September 10, 2025 at Utah Valley University. Whereas Charlie Kirk was a devoted Christian who boldly lived out his faith with conviction, courage, and compassion. Whereas Charlie Kirk was a dedicated husband to his beloved wife, Erica Kirk, and a loving father to their daughter and son, exemplifying the virtues of faith, fidelity, and father Then they went further. They said he's a fierce defender of American founding and its timeless principles of life, liberty, limited government, and individual responsibility. Charlie Kirk, 18-year-old, founded Turning Point USA, a student movement with the mission to identify, educate, train, and organize students to promote the principles of fiscal responsibility, free markets, and limited government. And they said that he was one of the most prominent voices in America, engaging in respectful, civil discourse across college campuses, media platforms, and national forums. And they said he personified the values of the First Amendment and that he had a commitment to civil discourse and debate and stood as a model of young Americans across.
Are you trying to make me start crying on this live stream?
They pretty much sucked him. I mean,
this is really disturbing.
They sucked him. So this is not like, oh, we didn't like violence. This was not just a general resolution to condemn political violence. This was a suck-off fest in which they bowed and kissed the ring to this Charlie Kirk movement. The Democrats had no business signing this because there was no reason. There's no money on the line. We're not changing civil rights laws. There was no reason. They could have easily said, no, it's a no. It's a no. Learn to say no. But y'all don't want to say no. Y'all couldn't even say no to the most simple shit. So how can me as a voter, how can we trust y'all? Like, I definitely feel like I would love to see, and I used to not be one of those people because I used to be like, what's dangerous when people start talking about we want different leadership and they're kind of being very ambiguous about what that leadership is going to do. But I definitely think that we deserve better. There are Democrats in the House of Representatives who were able to stand up against this. And there were, and then there's the Democrats in the Senate who are just very weird. You're very detached from reality if you're signing something that says that Charlie Kirk encouraged civil discourse. He said that Black women did not have the mental capacity.
I know.
Like,
Yeah.
So what are we doing? So we're saying to me, to sign that is to say white supremacy is legitimate political rhetoric. That is what they did with that signature. Honestly, it's a big F you to them.
So somebody just asked because it all, lately, and I've had this conversation a couple of times where people like, we need a third party. And I'm not, I don't subscribe to that. And the reason is, and I'll just put it like this, as a person that comes from business, it's easier to acquire an existing business than to build one from scratch.
Right.
And then, like when companies merge, what do? They come in and they get rid of the dead weight.
Right.
And that's what needs to happen with the Democratic Party. Somebody asked about the Working Families Party.
We don't need a third party.
Well, because then it just dilutes everything.
There's actually a lot of support for reparations. The House of Representatives, I believe, as an American, is a better form of representation for us than Congress. Congress, to me, seems very out of touch. House of Representatives, if you see some of the stuff that passes the House but never makes it to the Senate, to me, you kind of see more of what America could be.
Right.
Congress, I'm not going to lie, like, they've disappointed
You're talking about the Senate.
Time and time again.
Well, the Senate is like a country club, It's like a country, and it's been like that.
They're more to one another than they are to us, and I feel like that's what the Charlie Kirk thing said. It's like white people were crying about it, so all the rest of them were like, "Oh, well, let's just do it. It's not that bad. Let's just sign it." And it's like you guys make us sick. Like, I think we need to handle this in the primaries. I don't think creating another party. We already have other parties. We have the Green Party. They don't seem to put out great candidates. We have the Working People's Party. We have Communist Party. We have Socialist parties. We have a lot of actual parties. So I think it's also kind of like a misnomer when people say, "Hey, we need a third party." We have many parties. When I can show you the ticket when I voted for president, it wasn't just 2 people on there. It was at least 15 to 20.
Oh, yeah. You got the libertarian guys. You got, but, the Working Families Party, as I understand it, basically works to elect progressive Democrats.
Bingo. They're actually not their own party.
They're not, right.
Fahima corrected me on that because I used to think they were. So what they do is, like you said, they put
like they'll endorse AOC or,
progressive. And right now, the way America's political spectrum is set up, progressive tends to be Democrat, right? You're not going to have a progressive Republican candidate, right?
I saw something today, and I really had forgotten my history. It was related to Mamdani, but they were talking about, he's not the first Democratic socialist that we've had. LaGuardia. I watched, it was like a little short sort of documentary thing online, just talking about when he came along, how corrupt stuff was in New York. New York's always going to be corrupt, but it was really, really bad. And this is during the FDR, period. And so anyway, I mean, the idea that Mamdani is just some aberration, what they count on is that we don't know our history very well,
That's
right?
right.
And Democrats don't do a good job of, you know, that whole situation. I would love to know what y'all think about this. What happened to vote blue no matter who? Y'all remember that? I remember that. When somebody saying vote blue no matter who.
Cinema? I mean that's the outcome of them telling
Well,
us
yeah.
to vote for whoever's blue on the ticket. But blue, no matter who, doesn't work. I can tell you in Louisiana, we had a Democratic governor before this one, and he was the one that signed the law to take.
Wait, that's what was it? David Bell something? Was that
Bell Edwards?
Bell Edwards, yeah.
Yeah, and he signed the bill. And you know why he did it? Because basically his term was up. He couldn't run again. So he couldn't run again. And so I guess he figured I don't have anything to lose, and this is how I feel, so now I'm about to just do it.
Well, that's what happened with the Senate.
I feel played.
Well, no, that's what just happened with the Democrats. So think about it. Democrats, the what, 7 Democrats and Angus King. There's an article in the Wall Street Journal this morning, and apparently what these guys, this didn't just happen over the weekend. They had been working on this for a minute, and Schumer wasn't even involved. According to the Wall Street Journal, they would give him a readout on, well, here's what we're doing, but he wasn't really in the negotiations at all. They were basically going through the back door, so to speak, dealing with Thune. And it's like, Dick Durbin, blah, the one, and nobody like in leadership. So it wasn't like, equals. They were dealing with Thune and a couple of other Republicans. And I'm like, what? I mean, to me, that is such weak leadership. That's not even really leadership.
They complained about Nancy, but Nancy knew how
No.
to pull people
I said
together.
that, remember, we were talking about this the other day, man. This would not happen with Pelosi, whatever you think about her. I mean, I know that's the house. I mean, and that's the House. It's a different dynamic, but still, I put it this way. That wouldn't happen with Mitch McConnell in his day.
No.
I think we need a realignment of values, because the problem is it starts with elections. It starts with people that are voting for Democrats, and essentially these Democrats are supposed to work together. But what happens when these Democrats don't share values? Then when it's time to govern, it's not a surprise why we can't agree, because the values are not aligned going into it. Like, we need an agenda.
Folks are asking, did they get paid?
That we agree with.
So folks need to understand they already been paid. They already bought. And what happened?
There ain't no stopping that.
Well, yeah, these guys didn't get, nobody wrote like a special paycheck. That's why they're there. They done already got paid. So what I did read, though, was as this went on, and especially when they started to cut back on the airlines, cutting back flights and all this stuff, there were several people in that group of 7 that get a whole lot of money from the airline industry. So their phones were ringing, and they were getting that pressure, and they just
playing with me.
Make
it happen.
Yeah.
I'm cutting.
And what's so crazy about it?
Midterms coming, and you're gonna be looking dry. The pocket's gonna be.
Well, none of those people that are involved were up for re-election. Either they were going to retire. Dick Durbin is retiring.
It's a values thing. Those Democrats, I don't believe they care that everyone's premiums are gonna skyrocket. We need Medicaid.
I just don't think. I think they're so far removed from. They're just in the bubble. Look, I will admit, when I worked in New York, I was in a bubble. I was in a Wall Street bubble. Everybody, all my friends, we all had the same jobs. We all made, a minimum amount of money. We could pay our bills. When I moved to North Carolina, and I don't mean it just like, so for example, when I moved to North Carolina, my whole insurance situation changed. You know, the place where I worked, I had $2 million worth of life insurance. Something happened to me. My folks were taken care of. But then when you're out on your own and I start my little consulting company, it's a whole different dynamic.
Yep.
Now, in some cases, it was better. I mean, where I lived in New York was like the carjacking capital of the world. So my insurance was more than my car payment. Moved down here, my insurance went down like $200 a month. So, it's all these different things. And if you never leave that little, force field that you're operating in and all your shit is taken care of, like these guys, even when they retire,
But
they ain't got nothing to worry about.
But that makes somebody not well positioned to be leaders.
Well,
You can't be a leader.
that is the
and
problem.
be, and just be like, well, I grew up rich and I always had a car and I always had these things. And then people are saying you're struggling and you dismiss it because you've never experienced it firsthand. Because I can tell you, like where I'm growing up, last year, for example, my nephew broke his arm, and it was only because of Medicaid that he was able actually to go to a specialist, and which is really important because the way he broke it, they had to have put surgery on his arm,
like some pins or something.
Yeah, and when it healed, like somehow the skin healed weird. Like, and he had to go to a specialist. It was only because the Medicaid covered that he was able to go to a child bone specialist and wound specialist and stuff like that. Otherwise, he would have just went to the emergency room. They would have put a cast on it, and no matter what it looked like under there, he was just gonna have a messed up arm. He would have been mangled. And instead, now his arm is normal. He can run, he can play, he can pick up stuff. It is as if it didn't happen, and that's because of healthcare. It's like when you have people that are being elected and they don't care about like what's happening to kids, what's happening to people that are low income, what's happening to older people, then I don't think that they're fit to be like find a different job. Go be a banker,
Well, part of the problem too, you take somebody like Dick Durbin. I'm sure he's a nice guy. He seems like he is, but he's been there, what, 20 something years? This guy don't know he don't know what groceries cost. He ain't been to Food Lion, you know. He ain't been to Walmart to shop for no shit. No. And so that's what I'm saying. They're just in a completely different stratosphere from the normal person, even if they're not millionaires.
I feel like we should do a social experiment. I definitely think that all elected officials should make minimum wage and should only have access to the health care that low-income individuals have access
to. Or whatever their state.
Yep,
whatever state they're in, they get the same
if it's
insurance.
not good enough for you, then here's the thing, fool. It's not good enough for your people. It's just not.
Right.
Yeah,
you don't need to be making $100-something-thousand a year when they got people in your state that are living under a damn bridge and don't have a roof over their head, right? That doesn't make any sense. How are you my servant when you're living at a quality that's above a lot of citizens? That don't seem like a servant. I think you should start wearing plain clothes. I want to see you chaste. I want to see you wear plain ass clothes, only Walmart clothes or only thrift store. I don't want to see you shine. I don't want to see you shine until everybody is shining. I really don't want to see you out here. I don't want to see you driving in a car. No, I want y'all to share security.
Wait, you don't think like Joe Manchin with his living on his yacht?
While y'all are in Washington, we don't want to waste money on security. Y'all gonna stay in one house, all right? Because y'all get treated way too good, and that's the problem. That's where the detachment comes. We need to fix that. So it's either we're going to elevate everyone or you need to come down to eye level. Come down to eye level and let's see how much it costs to feed your family or make them live off a minimum wage for 6 months. Let's see. Let's just see what comes out of it. If it's so easy to do, right? If it's so easy to do, come do it. Come do it.
Like, Allison, you dangerous, girl. You starting trouble.
Like, why are you sitting there? That's like the pastor at the church, and you sitting there got gators. You got gators, and yet you don't want to help nobody get no milk for these infants, but you're driving in a nice car.
Like, speaking of social experiments, I don't know if y'all saw this, but a there's this woman on social media that called around to different churches, and it was like, you might, it was like, basically saying, I got this baby, we need some food, I need to buy milk, and can you help me? No, we can't help
Yeah.
you.
All those things, church.
I mean, church after church after church. She even called her own church,
Mm-hmm.
y'all. And
That's
that just,
sad.
to me,
But yet they
it
got
was,
their hands out for money. They got
well, they
their
don't
hands
pay
out for money,
taxes.
but don't want to help the community.
Right.
Hmm.
So
How you following? Like, first of all, I'm not religious, but how you following behind Jesus and you anti-socialist? Jesus believed in feeding the hungry, taking a piece of
Hello?
bread and giving it to everybody, taking enough fish and giving it to everybody. If your church isn't doing that, then stop calling yourself a church and just call yourself what is like a scam get together. I don't know, a reading
A
club.
tax exempt organization. So Lynn just said and I had forgotten about this. A Muslim temple helped her. They offered to help.
Yeah, that's
Of course.
beautiful.
You know,
It's like,
the,
yeah.
but
You
we
did
scared
you
of
see that
them.
the Pope actually set up a prayer area for Muslims when they come to the library, and MAGA was getting mad at that. But that makes sense to me because it's like, here we go. The Vatican has texts in it that aren't available anywhere else in the world,
Right.
right? So it's a very important place, right? And it has religious texts that are from Abrahamic religions, which includes
Oh, yeah.
Muslim people and stuff. And he was just trying to make it comfortable for them, like have a prayer, have a area for them to pray because they do pray. I think it's 7 times a day,
Right.
and then the MAGA was mad at the Pope for that.
To correct myself, I should have said a mosque helped her, not a
Right.
temple would have
A
been
Muslim,
Jewish.
oh yeah, you're
It was
right.
a mosque.
Yeah.
So dang, I'm just looking at the clock. It's almost 3 o'clock, or 4 o'clock.
No, but
Let me
listen,
roll back.
we can't leave without talking about 50-year mortgages and 15-year car loans.
Okay,
Yeah.
can I just say,
Man,
go ahead, Arturo.
Wait, real quick, because we going back to the vote blue no matter who, and then Allison and I have had these conversations about coalition building, right? And how you can't build coalitions unless people have shared values.
That's right.
I think a lot of the problem, the whole vote blue no matter who era, is how we in Texas and I think it was in Arizona got pro-abortion or anti-abortion Democrats instead of the
Or how we end up with John Fetterman.
Bingo.
Right. So now what you have is you have Republicans who all have the same ideology, who all have
Bingo.
shared
They moving
interests.
together.
Right. And they're moving along, and Democrats don't have any shared interests because
Bingo.
they're too busy trying to get in these more centrist type, more Republican type, instead of saying, look, the people want progressives, let's put in progressives. Let's get people in here with shared
Bingo.
values.
Look what Mamdani did, man.
Right.
This guy won. He won more than 50% of the vote in spite of the Democratic establishment.
Go and black
He
people
got
led the
people
way. Let's
to get up,
go.
and this is what I've been saying this for years. I'm sure this whole idea of, if we could just get these Obama voters back from MAGA and no, that girl quit you. You got to go. You got to find some different folks, and
Yeah.
all these millions of people who just don't vote.
Bingo.
They're not being talked to. And Mamdani started talking to them. And they got up off the couch and went to work.
He
And
didn't take that for granted because
no, he did
even
not.
when he was clearly in the lead, he continued.
He
to
ran through the
offer
finish line,
people in
didn't he?
different communities, different walks of life. I felt like he really showed how a campaign should be run, and he didn't sacrifice his values. He said he was
Nope.
motivated by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s democratic socialism, and he took that. And he took that to the polls. And so I really do hope, I already know centrist Democrats are going to try to like minimize what that meant, but that was major. And I'm hoping that as we go into the presidential, once we start having that debate, I hope that, I don't ask for centrists to do something that you don't, just be who you are. But I would say respect progressives. We are genuine. We want to make change and we vote, right? That's what Mamdani showed. So all this lie or this trope that what we say doesn't matter because we don't show up. Well, I've been voting since Obama, right? Since I was legally old enough to vote. So we do vote. Listen to what we have to say because we want to make policies that are better for all of us. We understand that a lot of the policies we care about get watered down by the time they get across the finish line. But we at least want our policies to be like reasonably listened to and considered. And I will say the Democrats, I want to hear what they have to say about these 50-year mortgages. As
Let me tell you
someone
something. That's
houses in the next 12
so just so y'all know,
I don't like it.
I started in finance as a mortgage-backed securities salesman. So I understand.
That's rare as
I
a
un Yeah, I know. I mean, there wasn't a lot of guys like me around. Let's just leave it there. But I so I ended up running an equity trading desk, but I started as a bond salesman selling mortgage-backed bonds when not a lot of people even knew what they were. I'm talking about like in the early 80s, and the idea okay, think about it this way. The average first-time home buyer now is 40. What the hell they gonna do with a 50-year mortgage? You're gonna be First of all, they're not gonna live to see their house get paid off, more than likely. If they do, they're 90 something and still paying a mortgage. Now you just my grandparents, aunts and uncles, they had their mortgages paid off, by the time they retired. So by the time they were my age, their house was paid off.
Was paid off. Well,
And
I
this
want
guy,
to tell you that actually new information dropped, and they said that uh, as of 2024, the new age for a home buyer, the new average age is actually 56. So someone like me that's 37 who's never owned a home, like I'm a perfect example of like, maybe I'm trying to do it within this next year, so maybe I'll meet it before 40. But there's a lot of people I know that are just in no position to do that. And part of it is I was born in '88. The very next year is when they came up with the system of credit. And we know how that has disproportionately
I mean,
impacted.
think about it. My grandparents, my grandfather, neither one of them ever made any significant amount of money, and they bought a home. I mean, they're like I remember one time seeing my grandmother's house note. Like the little book they give you, and her monthly mortgage payment, and it was a nice little house. Like a 2-bedroom. I mean, a nice house. It was like $50 a month.
Damn. Well, the way
You know,
the way it is in my generation is we pay over $1,000 for rent, and if you don't meet a certain cutoff credit wise, you'll never own a home.
you
And by
can't,
the way, the rate
and
is
by the
only
way,
going,
like up here,
you know,
our daughter just graduated back in the spring. She living with us because
right.
I was like, honey, do not get out here with 3 roommates and y'all paying almost $1,000 a month each. That's not even smart. I know, and I told her the quickest way for you to make enough money to get your own place the way you want is come live with us for a while,
And
because
that's
you
what my
will.
best friend had to do. She stayed with her mom for about a year and a half. She bought a house. When her mom passed away, she put more equity into the home and got a nicer house. But if it weren't for that initial, like, let me just stay with my parents right quick thing, like, she would have never become.
Yeah, she didn't want to do it, but actually, and look, we get along fine, but I know she's 22, and living with us is the motivation to get your shit together and get out on your own. But we're just trying to give her a chance to succeed.
Financial
Yeah.
ability to
I did that with
be
my
able to pick her
oldest son
course in
too.
life.
Well, because she's been in college. She had a few scholarships, so really her rent was paid for. And I'm like, okay, first thing, you start paying your own car payments, start paying your own insurance. And as 6 months we're into it, okay, here's another little bill. And at a certain point, once you can comfortably pay all of these bills, then you'll be able to go ahead and jump out on your own. Even if you have a roommate, you won't be there long. But yeah, man, it's screwed up, y'all.
50 years? I don't know if I'm gonna be.
That's not gonna happen because listen, that is so crazy. Nobody, I mean, 30-year mortgages are a stretch now.
Exactly.
Right.
It's like,
Just from a risk point of view, it's a hell of a bet. And most people, if they can do it, are going for a 15-year mortgage anyway.
right.
So the whole idea, you know what, guys, and just know Trump just he's not smart. Okay. And he just says things And then what happens is guys like Bissent they're so dishonest. They don't want, they can't say the president don't know what the hell he's talking about. So they try to like retrofit some shit on, to make sure that he doesn't sound like he's stupid.
Yeah.
We're spilling over into Egberto Willis's time here, I see. So yeah, we don't want to overlap and take his audience. So, and I don't want my audience leaving me. So let's.
I love Egberto. So like, yeah.
So look, just to close out, Allison, how do we find you? What's the name of your newsletter? All that good stuff.
You can find me on Substack. I have a Substack called For Black Women. And yeah, you could look up my website at AllisonTheDailyWriter.com. If there's a contact form there, if you do want to contact me.
Cool. Arturo?
Same.
Everybody knows where you are, man.
Yeah, I'm everywhere. This is like my fifth live this week. It's crazy.
He's my big brother online. If something crazy goes down, I'm gonna call and tell him.
Hey, I know what you mean. So look, thanks guys. And hey, Arturo, thanks for, your cameo appearance.
Yeah, I didn't want to take anything from anybody, but
and I'll just wrap it up by saying, I'm trying to get to 20,000 subscribers. This was like a drive I started in September when I had 11,000 ish. I'm closing in on 17,000. So if you're not a subscriber, become one. And I'll just leave it there, and we'll see y'all on the other side.
I want to get to 20,000 too.
All right, man. Okay, come on. Come on in. All right, y'all. Take care.
See you later. Love you guys. Bye.
Love you too. Bye.